If a horror film doesn't scare you, it's laughable, and if a comedy doesn't make you laugh, it's horrifying.
So Ilya, let's start with, tell me where the idea for Hatching came from.
I think the earliest beginning of it is probably when I was a child. I had this nightmare that there was an evil doppelganger of me out there in the world, just doing evil things and coming to my window to taunt me with the information that he's out there doing this. And that was really creepy. I just had the idea of this egg hatching out a monster that becomes a version of you. Once I met with Hanna, she quickly suggested, because I'd written it as a boy, she said that what if it's a girl? And then the idea sort of clicked completely, because it's the idea that a girl has to be perfect and has to look good and has to do right and can't show any ugly side to themselves. Suddenly we had this metaphorical story about eating disorder and trying to be perfect, and then it started to flow from there.
How did you know that Hannah was the right person to direct this feature? Because you have directing chops as well.
We met through this the Finnish Film Foundation. I organized this writers directors speed dating thing, like 5 minutes and see if something clicks, and then we met up for coffee. And after that, I suddenly remembered this one line idea I'd written down in a notebook, and it felt like this is Hannah's world. And that's kind of what I always try to do with an idea, is it sort of shuffle in my head of a list of directors I know, that whose world would this be, because I think it's extremely important for the tone and the kind of just that they're the best person to tell this story.
So Hatching invites the audience to wonder. I feel like we were wondering throughout whether Ali is real or a manifestation of Tina's pain. And unlike most horror movies in that vein, Hatching falls conclusively on one side. Did you ever consider any alternate endings to the picture?
No, it's funny. I before I start writing like an actual full script, I usually know what the ending is. And with this one, when I was doing the first draft, I had absolutely no idea, like, how the hell is this going to end? Because you have to kind of solve the dramatic thing, you have to solve the horror fantasy thing, and you have to solve the metaphorical aspect of it all in one go. And it was like literally the last day when I knew I had like 5 or 7 pages still to write, and I was going to my office, and then I was sitting on the subway, and it's suddenly like, it ends like this. And that's the end that has pretty much stuck through all the development versions.
Do you plan to stick to working in the horror genre, or are you going to try other things?
I've loved horror since I don't know. I was like, I was 12 when I first saw the 1990 version of Stephen King's It, and that's kind of then, because I was a smart kid, I read the book, which it just was so much worse. And then that kind of I have this clown phobia that's been playing around for over 25 years in my head, but which I'm kind of jealous to Stephen King about, that he came up with a concept that's so strong that, I mean, I'd have nightmares anyway, but now they're just focused on that clown because he's such a strong thing. In horror, you're allowed to kind of be brutal, but also be sad, and you can have a really tragic ending and everyone accepts it, and because it actually seems to kind of work in that sense, that you can deal with these really kind of heavy emotions and over the top atmosphere, and it actually purges you somewhat more strongly than other genres. And I like that it's so tuned to the extreme.
Clear.
I'm definitely want to continue with horror and horror comedy, but there's also a sci-fi feature I wrote that's coming in March here called Memory of Water, which is based on this Finnish sci-fi novel. I like to write very different types of stuff, and then I think the Playhouse for me seems to be now in the horror comedy. I feel that's natural, but probably also straight horror at some point.